it always was there for me. I didn't, at times I just felt like, where's my sister, where's my brother, where's my dad, where's my other brother, where's my sister, where's my mom, where's my family, where's my friends. It was just dance, music, like music was there. And at that moment, I was just like, well, if I'm gonna be alone, I might as well move, I might as well do something. And I found all the heroes I needed through dance. My dad wasn't around, and my mom was, we were always back and forth fighting. She wasn't happy with my life decisions, and I wasn't happy with hers, and we just were always like some crazy argument. But she was still like my best friend. It was just hard to like not continue dancing and not do this, even when people were telling me like, what's it gonna do for you? Like, what future do you have? And I would like beg, like something has to come. Like something out of this has to like come. Looking at the movies Breaking and Beat Street and just like, how do I get to that level? Like, how do I become this person? How do I be like Taco? Shrimp. Like Hollywood's like right here. What the fuck, like why can't I just be in a movie? There's a lot of like hope and aspirations for something more. So my name is Boogie Frantick, and I am from LA. I mean, it's hard to say exactly like where I've been pinpointed. Lived in a lot of different cities of East LA, a lot of cities of the San Fernando Valley. So just more LA County. The parts I grew up as far as dancing has been like the San Fernando Valley dominantly. And I think it was like a safer bet for me, like being away from East LA. In the 90s, I would say like it was you're either gangbanging.
And another round of gang arrests and violence. More than 200 officers hit the streets, rounding up more than 100 alleged gang members. As usual, it didn't mean an end to gang violence. The victims include a 16-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy. Los Angeles police say gang killings are at a record high.
Now there are 50 gangs in 7 square miles of East Los Angeles. In 1990, they accounted for 33 murders.
Victims of an American shooting war. The war involving thousands of youth gang members in the nation's second largest city.
You're partying, one or the other, like in some way, shape, or form.
Hundreds pack into this East LA warehouse. It teeters on the edge of chaos. At the very least, more than a dozen female party crews have strippers, and thousands of teens come to watch them, who playfully shove each other around the dance floor. Party advertising flyers promise a night of pure sin. And this group, most of the males under 18, are primed for a raucous evening.
Definitely changed my life living out there, for sure. It put me in a different light. Like I could have been one of the homies gangbanging, chilling, just hanging out on the streets, hanging out doing dumb shit, getting into major trouble, hiding from the cops. But I realized that dance was like a really way of unifying without any racial tension. Brothers and sisters of different colors, and that was my thing. I really don't see why we're so separated. Like why I was raised to be a proud Chicano and just like, one of the homies and a Southsider who doesn't like affiliate himself with different races. And it was crazy, like to be raised that way.
Like my Mexican Chicano, you don't associate with blacks, don't associate with. That's another race.
Latinos have recently surpassed African Americans as the largest non-white minority. And there's a lot of talk about the black-brown divide.
Violence does involve feuds between black and Latino gangs over drugs and turf.
But there's no question that blacks and Latinos in America have been historically pitted against each other, fighting over jobs, neighborhoods, and political power.
Brother would come out of jail and just kind of like put this mentality on me. Like, you gotta conduct yourself, you gotta shower, homie, you know, you gotta iron your clothes, you gotta look clean, make your bed, like fold your clothes, and just like a militant kind of lifestyle in a sense. And I was like, okay, you know, he's my big brother, I'm not gonna argue with him, but there's times where I was just like, why do you do all this shit? Like, what's the purpose of it, you know? So it just, over the years, just kind of like got embedded to me. So it was ironing my clothes and always being sharp and clean and matching and, you know, clean cut and trying to make sure I had a haircut every week and trying my best to just be presentable. Like, you can't be a dirtbag, you know? You gotta do this shit. You gotta do it right. And won't allow that shit in there. My brother was in the gang and I was into dance, and it was just like fighting, being told, you know, this isn't West Coast and this isn't LA shit and this isn't that. And I was just like, you're right, dude, like it's not. I'm doing that for a reason. I'm not a follower. Like, I do my own shit, you do your own shit. Like, and that's just how it is. My brother was murdered. My brother had a meal, was murdered in '95. You know, was shot, killed. And they caught him driving, and it was just like a whole different environment for me at that time. And I realized that, like, I either end up that way, or like my other brother Eugene, like in and out of jail, or on my own. And I realized that I either have to stick with dancing or figure it out. Moving away from LA kind of helped, in a sense. My brother out here was always locked up in the valley, so I really didn't get to hang out with his homies. It's like always some kind of guardian looking out for me in some way, shape, or form. When my brother was murdered, I felt like that was a huge, like, smack in the face. And I danced in front of his casket. I believe by making that decision to do that was my way of honoring him and honoring the memories I have of him, the good ones. And by honoring my life for his, honoring his sacrifice, like that's the way I saw it. Like, I need to do this. Like, I need to do this. And through junior high and high school, I used to wear his Paul Bear gloves underneath my white gloves and pop with them. I was always asking him to look out for me, to fucking protect me, dude. So dance really, like, saved my life, dude. The culture and the people, meeting Mr. Wiggles, meeting Mr. Animation, rest in peace, man, like, meeting Mr. Ree, meeting Chuko, the whole Air Force squad, like DJ Hayes, my big bro, like that dude was like my hero, man. Like, he was my mentor, and he was the only person like giving me like culture. had too much freedom, but I was trying to use it as wisely as I could without getting into too much trouble, trying my best to be as good as I can. It was crazy. Like every night I used to go out and just wish my brother was with me, like alive, watching. So in some way I felt he was, I felt he still is, like looking out. By 2009, I started to get really great opportunities as far as like dance in the industry. Doors started to open. And at that time, I was also deep into working for Anthem Blue Cross, healthcare industry.
Do you think it's just too expensive?
Okay, so Jack has something in his nose, huh?
How much do you think the average doctor visit costs? $90? $150?
It was crazy. It was really crazy working there because there's just a lot going on at that time with dance. Like things just started to come up and I needed more time off. And, I tell my friend Chris, like, bro, like I can't take these days off. Like, help me figure something out. He's just trying to find a way to get me out of working a day job and having me as an artist, So it's really amazing, like push as far as like support. Really dope to have like somebody believing in me like that, even though I was already older, I was like 27, 28, and I just kind of needed that push. And I felt like Chris was one of those dudes that did that for me.
Award-winning dancer and choreographer, and his name's Chris Scott. Focusing on Chris's work behind the camera, including So You Think You Can Dance, the LXD, Studio City, the Academy Awards, and Dancing with the Stars.
So I said, all right, I'm gonna take this time off, and me and my supervisor at the job at the time had a really close relationship. So she was like working her ways to get me this time off, and like, how can I make up for it and make excuses for it. 2010, boom, like dance really started to blow up. Did, the Oscars. LXD and then you had Step Up 3 coming out.
Our next guest star in the new film Step Up 3D, which opens nationwide today, here with an original performance created exclusively for our show. Please welcome the Step Up 3D dancers.
It was that kind of juggling on top of a day job. I was struggling, dude, and I was losing hair. I had alopecia from stress. My asthma was really like starting to get aggravated, and my energy, everything. So when I finally went to a doctor and used my benefits, he was just like, bro, how old are you? 28. He's like, no, this is way too much for you to be going through at this age. Like, you shouldn't be losing hair. I was like, I don't know what else to do, He was like, just take some time off of work. So then I figured out I can actually get a medical leave for 3 months. It slowly relieved me a little bit because I was able to like, okay, let me just try to see if I can really focus on dance and push that. But his office was dealing with paperwork and wasn't able to send the proper documents in time. I got screwed, man, and I got fired from that job. There's nothing I can do to get it back. And I was just like, well, I gotta dance, dude. I gotta really dance. So let's try to push this thing. And the last opportunity I was given was like January 11th or something like that. I was supposed to go to Montreal, and I was supposed to go to Montreal to do a gig. Dude, I had no money, bro. I had nothing in my account. I was like, I couldn't even pay for my luggage, bro. And then I finally got my luggage on board, and then boom, I deal with customs. They were just like, yeah, you have a warrant out for your arrest. I'm like, really? Like, maybe, well, you know what? I was like, you're probably right. I had a failure to appear, a traffic warrant out for my arrest for like some just traffic violation. I've been traveling and doing a lot of dance stuff. Like, I've been traveling a lot. It's like I've been, to New York, and like I was telling him, like everywhere I've started to go, and I was like, and at that time, like I wasn't able to really go to court. I was like, and I couldn't extend it because I already extended it because I was doing the Oscars. I was like, so I really couldn't push it any further. I just need to like do my job. I can't like let it stop me from working. If we do allow you in here, then you have to kind of sit in a cell for the weekend and then see the judge on Monday. I was like, yeah, but I'm here for an event on Saturday. They have me here as a guest. And they was just like, well, yeah, there's nothing we can do. This was like my last opportunity. I was like, this money here I need to pay my rent. I'm already like strapped up until a point because I've already done enough jobs and I don't have anything else lined up. So it was like kind of that struggle, I came back home, I was stuck at like Ohio or something like that. I was stuck in the airport, I missed my flight, dude. It was just like all bad, all bad. Finally got back, it was like, I think that was Thursday and I got back on Friday. I called on the girl I was talking to at the time and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. Like I'm really in a bad situation and I'm just trying to like use this dance for something better. So then I got offered 20 grand doing a trip. I didn't think twice, dude. I was so desperate. I was like, I need it. And in my mind, that money was already being spent on headshots, on my rent for like the next 6 months. Demo reel, stuff to help my career kind of flourish. I was just looking at it as money, not like I was doing something wrong. So that's what kind of fucked everything up. I went to Amsterdam and I met really dope friends. I made some really good friends. I know I'm not here for dance, but we ended up making workshops. And the less I knew about what I was doing, the better, man. The more I just knew about my dance was easier. So January 21st, 2011, I flew into LAX and they were just waiting for me, bro. They already knew. They were like, you're Rodriguez, right? Like, yeah. All right, come here. Let me check your bag. So there was no way of escaping that fate. Somebody either ratted out the whole system or ratted me out or something. It was just kind of weird that they were just waiting for me. Upon searching my luggage, they x-rayed it twice. I was like, dude, there's nothing in there. Like, it really wasn't. I really thought there wasn't. But they cut it open and that's when they found it was like about 4 kilos of opium. Crazy process, like getting stripped down, coughing, all that. Like it was nuts. Nothing new. I mean, I've been to county jail before. It's like this time there was no exit. Finally got in, the first thing they do is they ask you a homie? So it's like you either run with the Southsiders or you don't, like one or the other, So of course by affiliation, like yeah, I run with the homies. So it was crazy, like different sides, like everybody was in there. It was like avenued out, avenues and crazy ass tattoos. And
they like to tattoo themselves in areas that are painful to get tattoos. For example, their necks. Their neck is a real painful area to receive a tattoo. The back, near their spine, is very tender. And their sides, near their liver, is very tender. So they do that for a purpose. They do it to show that they not only were masculine in getting this tattoo, but they could also endure pain. Number two, they're proud about their gang, and they tattoo their stomachs and their chests, and mainly to make an impression on people when they get incarcerated. It's not that if they get incarcerated, they know that they're going to get incarcerated.
Introduced myself to the homies and just basically told them, like, yeah, you know, just I don't run with nobody. Like, where you from? So I'm from the Valle. It's like, all right, so you're a Vallero. You know, what's your name and shit? I'm like, yeah, Boogie. They call me Boogie Frantick, but call me Boogie. Like, all right. So like, what's up with Boogie? Like, what, you get down or you dance or what? Like, it's like, yeah, I get my boogie on, bro. And they're like, for real? Like, yeah, that's what I do, man. Like, I'm a dancer. The fact that opium is like considered a category 7, that it's not a category 1, it's like a whole different category. So it's not like a narcotic. The mandatory dropped from 10 to life, from 0 to 20. So it was like really interesting how that all worked out, because that's what they were trying to hit me with. It was like 10 to life. Like, it was like, oh shit, like a mandatory 10 years for bringing in drugs into the States.
In the U.S., almost half of all federal inmates are in on drug offenses, and increasingly they're being kept in private prisons. And the laws seem designed to feed the system.
California, in 1980, had a total prison population of 23,000. Between 1980 and now, we've built 23 prisons. We've hired thousands of prison guards. We've fired thousands of teachers. Today, our prison population is 163,000. 25,000 of those are nonviolent drug offenders. At $65,000 a piece a year to keep them in jail. That's $1.52 million. And this year, we told our 23 campus university system, no more new students. Our community college student, 3 weeks ago, demonstrations, 500,000 kids can't get classes. So we're trading the education of America for a drug war that's just stacking our prisons with cordwood, destroying families, destroying neighborhoods, unraveling our whole social structure.
It's good business if you run a private prison. The Corrections Corporation of America, for example, made $300 million in profit just last year.
And everybody's making money off of the current drug war at the expense of our children's futures.
But right away, like, I learned how to start making money in there, making something of myself. I had a little hustle going on. I brushed up on my artist skills and I started learning how they do cards in there, depending on how good your artwork was and how your coloring was. So just color pencils, man, and wax and drawing, and I started doing tattoo patterns. I didn't tattoo myself, but I was doing tattoo patterns for a tattoo artist that was in there. So we were just like a whole circuit. I was typing for people. People like basically like pay me to type their emails. You're basically limited to your time on the email, and the longer you go, the more money it's spent. So for them, they'd be like, you know, they're basically gonna run out of money. So for me, I was just like.
So if you don't hustle, I mean, you're not gonna die, but you're not gonna live.
Everybody's got a hustle in here. Some people keep the wicks burning. Some people sell cigarettes like us. Some people sell coffee like us as well. We just try to make as much money as we can. That way we can be as comfortable as possible inside of this place.
I have to have something to eat. And since I can't afford to go to the store and buy it, I have to hustle it up. You know, it's just like having a second job.
Big prisons are extending their reach beyond jail cells to make more money off incarcerated people.
Started with the war on drugs when the U.S. started incarcerating increasing numbers of people.
The most common ways these prisons make money is by charging inmates for phone calls, contracting medical services and food services, transporting prisoners, and charging inmates for basic needs.
When you look at the companies that provide those services, that provide, clothes and toiletries and these other small items that prisoners can buy, they're not necessarily marking up those prices. wages, but prisoners don't really make any money. And of course, you have to take a step back and recognize that not only is the prison system expensive, but it also, we jail the poor people in the U.S. overwhelmingly.
It got like really tough because they started throwing like events in my dedication. And then I would call, I'd call during an event and they put me on speaker and basically I'd just be talking to everybody. Trying not to cry, dude, because I just felt it felt like shit, man. But I still ended up fucking crying, But I was just like, damn, I could be at this jam right now. I could be at this event, but I'm in here. Use this to make me strong, to keep me strong. That was tough, man. It just on the day-to-day grind, making phone calls and checking up on people and then wanting to just see how I'm doing, how my case is going, and my attorney, my girl. It was just a stressful environment in there because everybody in there is stressing about the same thing. Because this is before you get sentenced. You have to maintain your hair, you have to maintain your look, because every time you go to court, basically the judge is looking at you all right, are you who you say you are? Or are you gonna just go back into being on the streets and being a knucklehead? I just said, you know what, I'm gonna start training. Started exercising, started dancing. I just had to find my program, man, so that every day I wake up and this is what I do, So I found a dude who actually can make out kettlebells and dumbbells and curl bags of water basically to work out with. So the bigger the bag, the more heavier, the more you work out, the more handles, the more you can work on different muscles. So because I was making money doing tattoo patterns, cards, and all this other stuff, I had money to buy all this other stuff from this dude. So he would just hook me up with workout equipment. Friday nights, KPFK 90.7 would have Truth Seekers. So from 12 to 2, there was this dope hip hop one, and then Truth Seekers from 2 to 4. And then from 4 to 6, it was drum and bass. Basically, if I could stay up all night on a Friday night, I'd live in LA again because of the music. And Saturday nights, it was Kiss FM that would have their club. So you would hear all the house tracks. I think it was 12 to 2, they had break beats and rhymes. And that was my homie Lou Man, DJ Lou Man. I remember just getting excited and writing to them, dude, yo, bro, if anybody can get a hold of Lou Man, let him know, I hear him every Saturday. If anybody can get a hold of Rico D, and then boom, I got my shout outs on the radio. I was listening and shit, it was pretty tight. My own boys are right here in this area, and it's just I'm in Estelle, but at the same time, my mind was outside of it. But I learned a lot of meditation. Books like The Power of Now kind of helped me understand listening to your own voice and basically learning to disconnect from that and just being the watcher of who you are, watching your ego, watching how your mind wanders and how your mind can drive you crazy. We used to do a prayer circle, and instead of actually praying, I would sit there and try to meditate and just see myself from a distance and then further away and further away. So the same thing would happen when I would lay in bed and kind of do breathing techniques. I would basically try to disconnect from myself and see myself, float out the window. And you can see this prison, you can see the city. I was reading a lot of books, classics like The Alchemist and Hip Hop Generation, Art of War. I had some graffiti books, everything that had to do with it, just somewhat history and then empowerment and just knowledge and understanding. And my friend Raj actually really looked out for me and started buying me vocabulary books, thesauruses, grammar books, just stuff that I could use to start my writing. And that's when I started to really dab into writing, just reading a lot of information, how to tell stories. I would read a page sometimes 4 times to just kind of understand the picture they're trying to paint and the words they would use. more I read, the more I wanted to like move and create. And I just would get my wheel turning. Imagine this gears of creativity in my mind is going like once that knowledge started to come in, the words, it just started to turn. So it naturally became an instinct of creativity. So I would dance from Friday nights till Saturday mornings, and all the way through 6 a.m. And we'd make this big ass thing of espresso, bro. Like this big old cup with our party mug. So we'd have it like instant espresso because they had espresso in there. And then a fireball, some creamer, regular coffee, and then like some chocolate to kind of give it some more extra flavor. And then just fill it up with hot ass water. And then we'd get another cup, fill that with ice, and then just slowly pour it in there. And just have our little ice mocha. So that was like our party drink, because that would keep us up for the rest of the night. It was making me miss like going to raves and going to events and going to these festivals and dancing my ass off, you know? So it was reminding me of what that used to feel like. And then how can I do it in a cell? So I would just fucking jam out in the cell. Just fucking dance. You know, I'd use like the angles of the walls for fucking inspiration and movement, and just trying to like draw everything out and see if I could actually like dance in the shapes of the actual room and just transcend that energy out, you know? Like I'm dancing beyond these walls. I know that my arm is reaching outside of these walls and grabbing it, opening it up. My movement was as large as the building. You know, it wasn't just like a simple boom, boom, or hands. And it was like I really was like taking apart the building. Yeah, I was like living the dance life all over again, transcending out. There was also the times when Devious, the Great Venators, and some of MZK got together and came to give a show. And then Funny Bones and John Buggs and Mad Chad was there, Wave-O-Matic was there, bro. Like, Chris Scott was there. There was a lot of dope people showing up and giving love. Everybody was banging on the windows, like going crazy. Kind of lit up the whole building for like a week. That was a really memorable time for me. I remember just wanting to like break down, but I was just happy. I was like, I'm in shape, guys, I'm sober, I feel good. I'm not fucking around, like I'm really like focusing, I'm educating myself. I just felt like they just needed to see that. People were just flooding the courtrooms to see that much support from everybody in the dance world, man. My crewmates, my family for sure, my cousins, just like really random people. It was really hard, but the dance is really what like kept me going. And that was it. This one moment we had facing the DA, and they had everything laid out in front of me, bro. Like everything. They knew my relationship with my girl, they knew how it all plugged into like all these other people. I was like, what the fuck do you need me for? Hey, what am I doing here? Like, you have your plan. What the fuck is going on? It was like my moment of truth. That was my moment to either rat or stick to my guns. But my attorney was right there telling, like, basically he's going, looking at me going, tell them whatever you want to say. Like, he wasn't even like trying to actually fight it. It was really interesting. And I was like, that's when I really felt alone, dude. Like, are you gonna like tell me not to speak, or are you gonna help me clear out? Like, what do I say? Like, say whatever you have to say. And I was like, whoa. Like, they all work together. Like, it's a whole system, bro. And it makes you realize how fucking tiny of a person you can be. Feel this small after like dealing with that, you know, and it's like you realize how much of a speck you are in this life when it comes to like that kind of law. Like everything can be ripped. Your life, your car, your house, like whatever you own, bro, the government can just erase, and you no longer exist. I mean, they're like, okay, this is our deal. We'll give you 2 to 3 years. And all I said was, this is my girl, this is me. This is where all my information goes. Like, this is it. Like, that's all I know, and you're sharing all this with me right now. So, I go, to be honest, I'm like, you know more than me. I was like, I really don't. Like, this doesn't even make sense to me right now. I'm like, so obviously he's not gonna speak for me or this guy. I'm like, so I'm just gonna tell you. So like, yeah, so you basically, I'm like, I fucking dance, dude. That's what I do. They're like, so the people in Amsterdam, you just met them through Facebook and you set up dancing. I was like, yeah. Like, I basically met these dudes through Facebook. They helped me set up a workshop. They had nothing to do with what was going on, literally. I'm like, I met them because they're dancers. And then we ended up becoming friends. Yeah, so the lawyer basically like looked at me and was just like, yeah, you really don't know anything. I was like, no, man, like I'm telling you, like I really just needed the money. And was just trying to use the money to benefit the life I was trying to lead. Like he was just like, you really have no idea, huh? He's like, I've never seen so much support that you have. He's like, I've never seen a courtroom that full, ever. He's like, and I've been doing this for 25 years. Because I called my girl right after. I said, hey, they know everything, dude. Like, they know everything. They know more than I know, for sure. And I don't know what else to tell you. So there's more than just what you and I were into. Like, there's way more. So they knew all this stuff. I don't think I was tapped. I think you were tapped. I got sentenced by King 21 months, bro. Because he read my letter, he saw the support, he saw the fact that I was who I said I was. You know, what I've been through, like all my social background, from abuse to being alone and just like all this stuff growing up. Like, it's no wonder sometimes some people end up in a bad situation, you know. That much freedom as well, it's like, it's really not that simple as people make it seem, you know. I can't help but like just understand it even deeper now. Like, wow, like we really don't look out for some of our kids on the streets. I was lucky, man, and the judge saw that, and the DA was pissed because they didn't get anything, and I still got a sentence less than they wanted. A lot of my life falls into this word. It's like, if you're not in the right mind, it's not the right time. And that's real shit. Because at that time, my mind wasn't in the right place. You know, my mind was desperate. I was desperate for money. I didn't realize the time. Because there's dudes doing time that didn't even deserve it. Dudes doing time that don't even belong in there. The only thing that kept them alive was fucking keeping their mind right. When I was in Terminal Island, it was still 2011, I just trained, bro. I worked out every day, 2 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. Sometimes Sunday I would just go do abs, just chill and relax. Body was sore, I just let it recover. I would stretch an hour, 45 minutes before working out and dance, stretch and dance. From 12 to 1, I would literally dance every day, hard, full out. And I just started training like all my foundations. Like foundations, I would just think of like Mr. Animation when he hits and when he sets up and how he like looks. So that's kind of like that little gangster bop that he has. On top of it, it's like a hard ass hit. I think of Bopping Andre when he's just sitting there using his shake. I would sit there just like flat top when he's just like coasting through the slow motion timing thing that he has with his hand. I would think of like Puppet Master when he just would start like to smile and start get down. Jekyll, he's just like coming, backing up and then going forward, side to side. Heckle, and he would just do the same thing, and he'd just start hitting and just going forward and back. Re-watching him dance in a circle. I was just thinking of all my OGs that I've like experienced something from. I'd use a dude in the tower as like a reason to like transcend my movement. Like, does he see like how clean and how precise my movement is? The timing of my hit, just being able to boom, ka, like being able to emphasize the beats. I would do my stretching on top of that, my breathing, my meditation. And in my mind, I'm like the visual that I had of being on stage and performing in front of like hundreds of people, you know, sometimes thousands, trying to win competitions or being a part of an event. And it's like, I'm gonna get a commercial, I'm gonna get gigs, I'm gonna get jobs. Like, it's like I'm gonna come back into the scene and become something like more, something more than myself. And I would say phrases like, I've always lived the future now. And just in my mind, I could see the words just flying through. And I would just read them as they flew through. Kind of like the NASDAQ, when it just passes through, right? I would just see that. I will always live the future now. I will always live the future now. I always live the future now. I have always lived the future now. And that was like my training regimen, like Monday through Saturday. Sometimes I would just lay out there and just stretch out, be zenned out, looking at the sky and just thinking in my life, like, I'm facing space. I'm not standing, I'm not laying on the ground, I'm facing space right now. I'm riding the earth. That's pretty much how I see it. I hit the scene with as a storm, bro. Came in and just started smashing. A lot of gigs started coming my way and got booked for Dancing with the Stars. We got a Microsoft commercial. Devious just got together and we just created routines, bro. Just like one freestyle session. We won B-Boy Summit. Back to back, things just really started to make sense. And like I basically didn't skip a step. Then I got discharged 2015. And that felt like wow, man, I don't have to check in with nobody. I don't have to ask anybody permission to leave the country. And I was gone, bro. October of 2017 is probably the first month. I'm not gonna say I was home the whole month. The first month that, as long as like it's the longest I've been home since 2015. And I've been traveling the world. Everything was just basically just manifesting itself. honest, like when I tell people this, it always sounds weird, but going to prison was literally a blessing, dude. Because I got to face one of my biggest fears. That was knowing whether I'm gonna get killed or not. For having a brother that's laying 6 feet under. You know, and his involvement in the whole situation of like, and I'm lucky, dude. Talent isn't enough. You know, you have to train it proper and get somebody to grab you and say, look, dude, pick your head up, put your shoulders back, put your arms together. Like, show that you're proud of what you're dancing. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that kind of guidance, you know? Because we never had that. We never had real teachers show us, like, how to properly evolve. You know, if you can really follow your heart and you're pure, and there's so much beauty in that, you know what I mean? But if you're cluttering it with negativity and that energy, find out why. Find out why and resolve that shit before it eats you alive. Sometimes you really have to look out for you. Sometimes you really have to look out for your well-being. And sometimes by saying no is literally better than saying yes. You know, we force ourselves to say yes all the time because we feel like we're gonna miss out on something. But sometimes missing out is like the answer, and realizing like where you stand. If I said yes to everything, I had to say no to a lot of shit in order to like really be where I am. But a lot of knowledge of self is really what helped me transcend and really put me in where I am today, just traveling the world and literally like sharing my gift, sharing what I love through dance and even a lifestyle, the troubles.